Shabbaike Munni Subhani, all the way from Toronto. Very special episode. This is a tribute by all my healing dancers from Toronto, a tribute to Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry, who is my uncle, played an important role in the world in the recognition of mother language. And every one of my students, they will, whatever they want to share, there'll be so much of interest coming from different background about the mother language, what they feel about Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry. You have the backdrop, it's called Chai with Munni, and this was an episode that the talk show that I did on February 21st of this year, and I had a chance to talk to my uncle because he passed away recently and he was very sick, but I had a chance to talk with him when he was in his sick bed. And that was the last interview he ever did. And we're honored, we're humbled, we're lucky, and lots of love to the uncle. And lots of prayers for his departed soul. So we'll open up. And don't forget to watch Deepto TV Friday morning at 8 Bangladesh time. সবাই ভালো থাকুন, সবাই আমার সাথে একটু দেখেন আব্দুল গাফার চৌধুরী মামার জন্য আমরা কিছু একটা করতেছি আচ্ছা thank you so welcome everyone all of you have put so much of energy and love for this cause of international mother language and we'll dance a little bit. That's his music, that's his the poetry that he wrote, and it became international today. And Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry is a national hero, and his tributes are just pouring from all over the world. And we are going to do our humble tribute for him. So any one of you who would like to start first and say, just do it. We'll go ahead.
Well, I have great respect for your uncle, and I thank him for the beautiful music that he gave us to dance to for that Mother Language Day. And we're learning a lot about different cultures and different celebrations for special days. And it was very, very good to be able to talk with your uncle personally on the Zoom on that day with Chai with Munni. So we were very, very fortunate for that. So I thank you, Munni, for sharing so much with us.
Thank you, Mary. And Mary is one of my students from the healing dance. Okay. Everyone will talk, so just wanted to...
I know. Well, it's funny. I never heard of the day celebration, but I must have because, being second language, teacher of French. When I think about mother languages, I think how lucky we are to be in Canada, to be in Toronto, because no matter where you go, there's so many languages being spoken. And hopefully everybody's tolerant because we all come from different backgrounds. We have our own language. We're proud of it. And therefore, to celebrate, for that day, recognition of all the language being spoken. Thank you.
Wonderful. I remember, Lorraine, on that day, you were present when we did Chai with Munni, the talk show. We did talk about a very important aspect of your mother tongue. Do you remember what you talked about?
No, I don't remember. I'm French Canadian. Okay. So I don't know. Of course, through the years, as you know, at one point you wouldn't know, but in Ontario, because it was English, there was times where you had to fight for speaking French. Not so much in Quebec, because that's why in Quebec, they're always, pushing the language because they're so afraid of being taken. And through history, there's been times where certain people, their language was put into danger. So, but I really don't remember what I spoke to that day.
I have it recorded, but just wonderful. And it was nice that you participated, although not understanding the real words. But whichever way I made you all understand, you put so much in the movements and dance. It was so beautiful. So what we'll get someone else. Oh, Shanaz is here. Very nice. Shanaz is joining all the way from London, England. That's nice. Carol, would you like to add yours? I'll- You are an author. You are a writer of many books. So just feel free. You don't have to talk for one or two, one or two sentences. You can give your, input. It'll mean a lot for all the viewers.
Yes, I'm also a strong believer in preserving, promoting, and perpetuating our culture. So I have great respect for Mr. Abdul, your uncle, Jafar Chowdhury, and because the first and main Dhaka value, and this is based on Confucius' teaching, is respecting elders. And respecting elders and pay tribute to ancestors. That's the greatest thing we can do, is to preserve the mother language. So I'm very pleased that he has also helped the whole world in everyone preserving their mother language. So may Abdul Ghaffar Chowdhury, his soul rest in eternal peace.
Yes. Thank you. So well put. It's funny. It's just Bangladesh initiated it. Feelings were there. The vision was there, and one of the most important things which I liked, I went to a few of the meetings where they were the Toronto Film Forum. I was there last Friday, and the most important thing they talked about him as being non-communal and embracing everyone as one. He said, my song was that. I want to see that. And he said that I'm a little bit unhappy what's happening around, He wanted to see that oneness of everyone, love of everyone. So, and with all these things happening, it was a little bit upset. And he said that in the interview with me also. Yeah. Yes, Jagdish?
Mother tongue is very important because a child understands the language very easily than any other language. In childhood, a child is trained, he understands everything if it is in his mother language than other languages. That is the problem.
Yeah, and that. And then in between, this is very important, and I did ask him a question in between, that what happens to the children who are in this country? And they speak only that language at home, and when they go out in the schools and all, it's another language. So he did answer it very well. I said, how do we preserve that? And that was a very difficult job. And he did say something which I forgot, but we're going to put that on with this so that everyone sees it again. Shanta, you want to say something? You are a teacher. Aap teacher the. Shanta is a maths teacher. Oh my God. And she had, what do you say? Urdu mein boliye, jo bole, Hindi mein boliye, Hindi mein boliye.
Both come is language.
No, I learn in Urdu, but I teach in Hindi language. Very difficult to me, but I translate them and teach them like that.
So you were teaching in Hindi?
Hindi, yeah. I learn in Urdu, but I teach in Hindi.
So you used to translate and teach them?
Translate, yeah. At that time, there is no Hindi books for maths. Then from Urdu books, I translate in Hindi and teach them like that.
Wow, so wonderful. Well, she's an amazing math teacher. So what will we do? We'll get up and we'll dance to his music a little bit, and we'll come back and talk again and carry on. Okay, let's go. Okay, we'll do that. Nice, all of us. Okay. Wonderful. We'll come back to it again. So, Noreen, let's get you to talk, say a few things, Noreen. You can, when you're talking, maybe it'll be a good idea for the listeners to understand what's your background, and they can maybe, that'll make it more interesting for them if you say that your Hakka background, Chinese background, whatever, and that'll make very interesting. Okay, Noreen. Noreen is one of my students, and let's hear.
In Calcutta in India, but my parents are Chinese, so I'm Hakka, and I'm very proud to be Hakka, and I speak Hakka, and I'm really so happy to be with to be able to know Munni and join her with all the activities that we have learned, and this day is a very special day because we will always remember your uncle Munni for everything that he did, and we just pray that his soul will rest in peace.
What do you feel about your language in Toronto, in Canada? How is it?
Well, it's I mean, it's really sad. Like the people, the generation that's born here, nobody speaks their native language, because less and less people, because unless the parents speak to them and teach them, it's very hard. It's very hard. So it's really sad, but we just hope that somehow, sometime somebody will be able to remember and to preserve the native language, and to teach their children and grandchildren, so that it will not die off.
Yeah, but in Toronto, the presence of Chinese culture, the presence of Chinese language is absolutely quite big compared to other communities. So that should be a great help for the younger generation.
Yeah, but they don't, like nowadays, every young person that you meet, none of them speaking their native language. Not only the Hakka, but also the Cantonese and Mandarin. Because I think it's hard unless somebody takes the time to teach them and keep up, let them know the culture, and to keep the heritage going.
I find this in the younger generation, like our generation, at least we spoke, but our children, when their parents, like they are also working, they're out, and the children out. So for them to, keep that going, it becomes very difficult. It's a lifestyle and a difficult situation of doing and keeping the life, you have to maintain your life. You have to work out, come in, it's a lot of work for the new parents.
Yes, it is.
It's a very added work to keep that up.
But I think, Munni, if I might add, that I think the onus is on our generation. The parents are busy, but grandparents can do a lot. Yes. When I was president of the Hakka Association, I must say the Indian or the Chinese went to India. They have really preserved their Hakka dialect. But the ones in Jamaica, maybe because it's such a small island and we're such a small percentage, that it's lost. So when I was the president of the Chungjin Hakka Association of Ontario, I did publish books of our Hakka dialect, which is different offshoot of the ones that the dialect that Noreen's family would speak. And we did have classes for children.
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, yeah.
And they remember their songs. And I think although they grew older and the lesson stopped, we are now having 4 adults, and it's now just more talking, so it's not forgotten. So Noreen, I think we grandparents will have to challenge. Yes. And we are passing on stories at the Hakka conference that our parents used to say, if you don't speak Hakka, you can go out and learn from school English, but once you come home, no Hakka, no rice to eat. Meaning no dinner, no nothing. So they maintain that the Hakka was spoken in the home, and then outside you can speak, or with the family dinner, your family around. But outside you could learn anything you want. In our case, Spanish, since Jamaica was surrounded by Latin American countries. So we got to keep going while we can.
Yes, as much as you can do. And
Yes.
think about it. Yes, Stephanie, yeah.
First of all, I'd like to give my thanks for your uncle's contribution and for you bringing us this important information, as well as dancing to it to show the joy there is in sharing this kind of information. But in Canada, I think there is an opportunity for a lot of children to learn their second language, even in classes, especially in certain areas. And I think it's respected here. Whereas in so many places, they're fighting to speak their mother language and preserve that language. And the written and spoken words are a way for values and traditions to be passed down from generations. When a language is lost, part of that culture is lost, and it's a shame. So it's really a good fight for everyone to go behind.
Yes.
I think to the point where Stephanie said, I was about to say, we are here more than 35 years. And since we came here, the cultural diversity and performing together is so great, offered by the Canadian government. I'm telling you. Before we were all like, our shows used to be all at the Harbourfront, and all the countries, we used to just each performing their own, and we came to know each other. It was so beautiful. But as the community grew, each on its own, so they separated out. And that I miss, because, you know, they are doing their own, you're doing your own, yeah. So that part was great when we were all together. You know how antique Chinese instrument we saw, you know, he played, and then we were fascinated. So, and then we shared, they shared. It was a different platform. Toronto, it was just amazing. But
I
now,
remember they used to have the caravan, isn't it? And that was, and every year we just discovered so much about each other's cultures.
Canada, has, rightfully, you said that Canada offered, and today also, like as Mary said, whole month of May is South Asian Heritage Month. It's not a joke. And so it's how much consciousness we are to keep it up. We don't have to bombard it, but just be conscious of and celebrate it together. It's amazing. Yeah, someone else wants to add, or you can have a discussion also and talk back and forth. Shanaz, maybe I'll ask you. You're all the way from London, England, and Shanaz, you have to unmute. Yeah. So Shanaz is a Bengali. She has a little bit, you know, the input. Yes, Shanaz, and she speaks the language.
I was about to say, you know, in the UK, Bengali culture has a big organization. Bengali society has a big organization, and it is in different parts of London, mainly, of course, in East London. But there's an Indian cultural center right in the heart of London where they teach Bengali, they teach Bengali songs. Tagore, Nazrul, these are our famous Bengali poets and composers. And music is taught in Bengali. There is a department. There are different departments. Like South Indian music is taught there. and other parts of other regional parts from India. They have their music, but Bengali department is strong and it's big. And we celebrate all the events in Bengali calendar. For example, Bengali New Year, we have celebrated every year. In fact, we have done through music, dance, and the most important thing, however, is that alongside music, Bengali language is also taught. There are separate teachers at the institute teaching Bengali grammar, Bengali language, and there are recitations, there is drama. So it's in a variety of forms Bengali is being taught. And the same goes for Sanskrit and other languages of India and the subcontinent. So, and I'm sure there are other languages from other communities that have their centers where children can go on weekends and they learn and they keep in touch with their culture, their heritage, and their language.
Yeah. So London was born before us, you know, and you are ahead with all
the immigrants here are have been settled here from a very long time, and it's the 5th generation probably here now, Bengalis.
The best restaurants of London is all run by, you know, Silet's, where she comes from, the town she comes from.
That's my hometown. And it's a city now.
Best restaurants are there everywhere, you know, so it was lots of acceptance then, and they could do things very well. I mean, my salute to UK at that time, you know, till today, they're so...
They were the pioneers, in fact, in restaurant business from overseas.
And that helped also Canada, you know, that motivated the people from Bangladesh and other Indian subcontinent to see the success in UK, and then, you know, how they poured into Canada. And Canada is doing very, very well, you know. It's now. When I compare myself 35 years ago and what Toronto is now, wow, you know, I could cook without an onion and garlic and all, you know. What is garlic? It was not so easily available, but now you see, oh my God, yes, so yeah, great.
Everything there now, yeah.
Amazing. So if anyone wants to talk also and get into discussion is also fine. It's not only one individual. Yes, Robin, yes.
Hey, I guess my take is that first, I was grateful to be able to share with your uncle live in February, to see him and spoke with great respect, Mr. Chowdhury. May his soul rest in peace. But I think his ambitions or his idea, his philosophy of strong connection in respect to mother language will be in many years ago, especially now it's recognized in the UN. And when you talk about mother languages, my take and my definition of mother language is also mother tongue. And why do we call it mother tongue? Or anybody asks you, what's your mother tongue? Which means it's really communication. Mm-hmm. How do you get into this world as a human being and be understood in communication with your mother? And it's always in your own mother tongue. Whatever your mother is, whether her background is Bengali or Urdu or Indian or Chinese or German or all that, will be the first communication that you communicate in this world is your mother tongue, which is over and above your written language, because you only learn your written language or any written language where you learn English, or you're forced to learn English in some cases, or forced to learn French. And that is a secondary language to you as a human being. So when you talk about mother language, the first thing you should think about is your mother tongue, which is your communication, that you yourself, your brain has been brought up into that language. And if you go through your life, normally you never forget, because your brain works tremendously. I tell you my background. I'm Chinese in origin, but I'm Bengali in birth because I was born in Calcutta.
How interesting.
But forget, if somebody speak in Bengali, I still understand it. And if somebody speak in Hindi, although I left India 56, 57 years ago, and if anybody speak to me when I go to India, I could understand everything they were saying because I could still have that brain wavelength in that mother language, so to mother tongue, because I've been, when you're young, you communicate in Bengali, Hindi, Chinese, even Chinese, my background, and I know 4 dialects in Chinese. So I think for preserving mother language or mother tongue, it's important to preserve not just the language or communication, but also preserve the cultural background of your upbringing.
That's right.
So right,
my tribute is to Mr. Chowdhury for him putting that up for Bangladesh.
Yeah, and then now it's all over the world. Well, I'll get back to Lorraine also. She's a teacher of second language, and so was I with the TBD, with the Catholic board. And every time someone very interesting came to my class, they used to be so, sad that, maybe they have to forget everything and they have to come to Canada and learn this and forget, they used to be so sad. Maybe Lorraine, you must have noticed if you taught the adults, because I was teaching the adults, and always I said that, who are you? Don't you forget that. Who are you?
You can't change that either.
Yes, it's very important. Who are you? That stays with you. That's who you are. They used to get so, scared. Oh, teacher, what I'll do now? Now I can't do this, because I said, no. You are who you are. So that's a big thing that I had, and I enjoyed that part of, talking with them and teaching them English and learning so much from them for the background. Amazing. It's amazing. It's good. It's great. In the teaching, you see the whole world. So Shanaz is a teacher, and Lorraine is a teacher. Who else is a teacher here? She was a teacher. Mary, great teacher. Yeah. So this is important thing. What you say about that person, and keep the values. You can keep the values and reach the moon also, but you are who you are, and that is your strength always. They say if your
identity.
Yes, your identity, who you are, that stays with you. And you can be anyone. Zeni is a teacher. Great. Oh, Zeni. So we'll do a little bit of his music. We'll dance, express our celebration with him. They said we need to celebrate, So tribute is about celebration. Let's do a little bit of dancing and we'll come back to Naseem. I would like to see you. Zeni, I would like to see you also. And then everyone here is going to say a few things. Okay. Tribute.
Ah ছেলেহারা শত মায়ের অশ্রু গড়ায় ফেব্রুয়ারি। আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি ছেলেহারা শত মায়ের অশ্রু গড়ায় ফেব্রুয়ারি। আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি।
Thank you. It was just lovely. It's coming out so lovely. You know,
It's also so lovely, Munni. It added such a dimension for you and Afzal to do that. It made it more emotional, connected to your uncle. Thank you.
Thanks. So, you know, the Chai with Munni, my episode, that the last was, he was there and there. I might just put it as Chai with Munni, the next episode, tribute to Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry as a follow-up. I think it will be amazing. So all of you are good with it? We could put it up? Yes. Then the whole world will see our tribute to him instead of just one TV station. So Shanaz, it'll be all on the YouTube, so you can pass it on. So all of you can, whatever you said, your view about it will be great. Alexander, coming from the Spanish background, what is your feeling? What is your take?
Well, I'm one of your most recent students, and I have learned so much through all these past months, but also the beauty of the music, your inspiration. And I was in that meeting when at the tea about your uncle, Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry, and it was beautiful. And my background is Spanish. I come from Mexico. I guess I was fortunate to teach my language to my children, my daughter and my son. They didn't carry their own, but at least I feel very proud that I did it to my children. I also have belonged to Spanish clubs, Mexican, or in general also we were all Latins from different Latin countries. And probably because Spanish, it's in so many countries that speak the language, we are able to continue, at least our generations, to continue with that language. Mm-hmm. And so I hope that it will continue like that. You know, more people are coming also from those countries. And but I believe in preserving your mother tongue, your language, because it's like you said, it's who you are. And your roots are always deeply embedded in you.
Yes.
It's something you can never forget. And so for that, you know, I have a lot of family back in Mexico. So I speak the language. I keep speaking it, and I'm very, I guess, privileged. Mm-hmm. But I would like to say just a few words for your uncle, a poet, a writer. What an inspiration. I have learned so much. And I just want to, you know, I like to wish to Master Abdul that his soul should fly to eternity, and that his work in this world continue to serve for future generations.
Thank you so much.
It's a privilege for all the world.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It'll mean a lot. It'll mean a lot. And it'll motivate everyone to think, give it a thought. The young mothers, young parents, or this generation to think that, there's something, because only as we age, we sort of go back to the roots, and we talk about the roots. Have you noticed that? That you
Yes.
suddenly you miss your home so much. Suddenly you miss those trees and where you used to play so much as we age. And I think that's the vacuum we should keep it always fill. We should always keep it fill. Yeah. It's amazing. Yeah. Joanne, okay. Let's hear you.
Well, first of all, I was really saddened to hear of the loss of your uncle, Abdul Ghaffar Chowdhury. We saw him and he really honored us when we saw him in the Chai episode when he was extremely ill, and he was frank about it with us. It was very touching. His legacy will live on forever. And that part I have no fear about. Through his poem, this is only one angle of all the talents he had and all the influence, but through his poem made into the beautiful song that is so renowned now for the Bengali language movement, which has now spread to an international movement. So it is just an amazing impact on the world that he has had. I went back to the Chai with Munni episode because I remember how much it had touched me when I saw it in February. That's when Munni, the first time I learned about this language movement and everything. And I was so surprised at the emotions it brought back when I saw it. Hearing him being interviewed, hearing many people speaking about that. And then, of course, we healing dancers of this group had danced to that song. And you had explained to us what the song meant in English so that we could understand what we're dancing about, the tears of the mother and everything. And it was so touching when your group sang that song, all dressed in black and white. So beautiful. I believe that's a group that we heard singing for the last dance we just did now.
Yes.
It is just so, I could listen to that song forever. It is so moving and so powerful. So it's even extra special after listening to that episode to be dancing on that music again today and hearing everyone speaking about this topic, because it was new then to me, and now I remember it all, and I think it's very important. From the point of view of learning about cultures and languages, I am from Guyana in South America. We speak English, but we're more of a Caribbean culture. What I've really enjoyed in your sessions, Munni and Afzal, is just traveling the world in the backdrops, seeing Switzerland that Claudia sends to us, for example. It's just out of this world. We're going everywhere together, sharing this with all the different music, and it doesn't matter which language it's in. You have shared so many languages with us through the dance, dancing to that music, feeling the emotion in it, and learning from each other, because you celebrate festivals of any religion and any country. It doesn't matter. Any of us wants to teach somebody about them, or their country, or about their language. We're free to do so. And so it's more than empowering. It's the most beautiful experience. So I thank you and Aswal for bringing that to us. And I also wish that your uncle's soul will rest in peace. He's done a great job in his life.
Thank you, Joanne. You summed it up so well. You summed it up very well. And it'll mean a lot to all his fans, his family, which we are, it means a lot. All of you who have put few things together, it means such a lot. That means we are trying to understand what he wanted to do, in our way. This is what his dream, his vision, And we are trying to do that. I think it's so good. So, I get tears when anyone talks so deeply about his work. And he died in London, buried in London, So, and the saddest thing is, which I want to share with you all, that a month before that, I think Shanaz, you don't know, if you remember when I did Chai with Munni and he was lying in his bed and talking, he had no means to put the TV or the Zoom in front of him, the laptop. It was his daughter. And we found out that a month before his death, that daughter passed away.
I read about that, Munni, on the internet, and I was so touched because I remember that you thanked her for facilitating that Zoom, that she was there, and I was so sad when I discovered that yesterday. She was only 50 years old. Her name was Benita.
Yeah, so Benu, and when I phoned that day, so you see that interview of mine was just with a shawl, because down I'm wearing my night suit. I just came down and I said, let's try uncle. And when she said, I will try my best to put him on, quickly I got the shawl and I wrapped myself and I talked, there was, no combing, nothing, just natural. And she said, no, I'll put it for you, stay there. So after a few, try, we got him. And he passed away. Then he said that, actually, I'm supposed to go. Why did she go? It's like, so
difficult.
This is difficult, very difficult. Yes. Then he gave up. He just gave up. That's it. Shanaz can't hear you.
I was wondering why, because his funeral was shown in different TV channels and they interviewed his son. So I was wishing that they show their daughter too, but she never came on. Now I know why. It's so tragic. Oh.
That was, and especially how the connection was with me just to get that interview. And imagine the last interview is with us in the world.
Yes, we're honored.
Honored,
yes. He is a national treasure for Bangladesh. He's the pride of Bangladesh, and he's the recipient of the highest civilian award in Bangladesh.
So, and all, So I'm glad we could do this, and we'll keep him going, his legacy, as long as we are here. We are dancing, and I want to tell you something, Shanaz. You will know that no one has danced to this music except us, the healing dancers.
True. I haven't seen it. Many people have sung. There have been lots of chorus, solos, but no dance with the song.
So I have to tell you this. I don't know, did I tell you last Friday? Last Friday, there was a tribute by the Toronto Film Forum. Before I forget, I must tell this. So, Toronto Film Forum, and we were invited as a family member, and my Fuad, the Fuad, the CEO of Deepto, is my uncle. So there, and they showed that dance.
Oh, how wonderful.
And the little talk. Just there, that's the breakthrough. No one ever danced on that. Zeni, Zeni, before you go, can you say something? You're a writer too, Zeni. Zeni, Sharif, are you there?
Unmute, Zeni.
Yeah, Zeni, if you're going somewhere, why don't you?
It just happened that I'd written this piece, so I'm just going to read it, okay?
Okay, sure. Yeah. So we can't see you, Zeni. Put your video on.
Oh, didn't you put it on?
No, it's gone. There we go.
That's the beauty of what you love, be what you do, Rumi. It's a phrase from Rumi, the poet, right? I've often wanted to do a number of things in life, and one of the things I love is to travel. I may have been inspired by what my late parents shared with us as children, the stories of Tara Rani and Raja Harishchandra, the stories of Mahabharata, the travels of the Holy Prophet Muhammad traveling from Mecca to Medina, and the travels of Ibn Battuta. And lastly, the travels of my late grandparents and their beautiful artifacts they had in their home from faraway places like Iran, Istanbul, India, and different parts of Africa and Europe. As they had families that were growing up and grandchildren that wished to leave a legacy, they lived their dreams through stitches and music. The women mostly made the stitches on their favorite saris or skirts with music in the background. I still recall one of the skirts my aunt had worn in the late 50s. It was a soft pink skirt on a beautiful silk fabric with two black poodles walking with the owner, who was a young, fashionable teenager, which was hand-painted, and all detailing was done by stitches and the sounds of music playing in the background, satin and cross-stitch. I still recall this image in my mind. The skirts and my aunt were the trendiest in the city of Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. At that time, I never enjoyed stitching or listening to classical music. I would play outside with my friends, playing hotchpotch or skipping or trying to get mangoes from the tree or jumping on gunny sacks, which my grandfather owned, full of cloves or cardamom. Now, as I'm older, I enjoy it. I'm not where they were, and yet it makes me connected to them in a very profound way. One breath, one stitch at a time. I build my dreams one stitch at a time. My life goes on.
Thank you. That was lovely. Thank you, Zani.
So it connects me with, Mr. Chaudhary, late Mr. Chaudhary, because language, what you hear as a baby and as you hear from the sounds that you grew up with, it's always part of your it's part of you, and you can never be separated from that.
Yeah.
So I have to go, but I will see you. Maybe I'll see you at 5. Okay.
So let's hear from Linda. Linda, you've been hearing, and you are new with us, but you get the feel of what's happening.
Yes, I do, very much so. I think that the mother language is the soul of the people, and because it's been handed down from generation to generation. And I was able to find online the translation into English of the poem of your uncle, and in every line I could hear the struggle and the courage of the people as they separated from Pakistan and how brave they all were. And I'm so glad it has become, I guess it's the unofficial language, anthem, I should say, of the country. And I was really glad to read that poem in English and see all of the emotion in it and how strongly he felt about it. And I just want to say that Munni, may the memory of your uncle, Abdul Ghaffar Choudhury, be a blessing to you and to all the people of his country. And I was so honored that I was able to find out about him through you, and I appreciate that very much.
It's wonderful, wonderful to hear so much of depth in that. He said that I just wrote one poem. What happened to it? He just laughs sometimes. What happened to it? I just wrote one poem, But after that, he wrote many, and we can carry on talking and talking for long. I myself found out how much he did. Yeah. So we'll get Sonia. Sonia, are you there? Sonia, there you are, Sonia. I kept you last so that I wanted you to hear what's going on, and then.
Well, I feel so privileged. I'm from Jamaica, of Dhaka parents, both Chinese, and I've listened and I felt a connection, which is so powerful because in our tradition, as I think Carol mentioned, we honor our parents, of course, but more importantly, our elders and people of vision. And your uncle had the vision, which so many of us don't have, especially the young people. But he had the vision to pass on his writing, his music. And you, Munni, were so smart to take it up and share it. And that's the biggest blessing we can all do, is to share our knowledge in dance, in music, in whichever way we can, in the spoken word, because language matters. My father was sent back to China as a youngster, and primarily it was to learn the language and to develop the culture and to learn the culture, because language is a spiritual, cultural, and an emotional part of us. And written and spoken words are an art form, and your uncle knew that very well. And that is the way the values and traditions are passed down to generations. And you're doing that so wonderfully, Munni. We are so blessed to be able to learn from you. And it doesn't matter the culture, we can all learn, and we are learning. Because when a language is lost, remember, part of the culture is lost.
Yes.
And that is not what we want. We want, by the same measure, when the language is preserved, as quite a few people have said, the traditions and customs will continue to live. And that's what are in the hearts and minds of all of us who understand what has been said and is being said. So, as you know, language is more than just a spoken word. It's the sum of all the parts of our sentence structure, our grammar, our language, our history, and our conversation, customs, and heritage. So thank you so much for all you have shared with us, Munni. I feel very blessed, and I'm sure most of your dancers do too.
I feel that, you know, this healing dance was, as Stephanie knows, goes back in time. It's a wellness program we were doing, you know. But eventually, I thought it was stagnating in that idea, because I found all of you all as such intelligent group. I said, no, we need to bring in many other things in it, you know. And it's amazing group of people. You people have become such a community, and such a strong community, you know, with it's a healing dance, but look what you're doing, look what you're saying, look at your impact. I think this is way beyond. And I have to tell you, like yesterday I was addressing the world global family. This is, you know, almost like 1,000 people, this group, and I just gave my take of my healing dance for 15 minutes. Wow, I was on till 1:30, question, answer, and they expressing the feelings. Oh, I got so tired. 10:45, 11, 1:30. I went nuts, and I'm going to address them officially on Wednesday morning. So you will see what that'll be. It's the global, you know, family. About more than 1,000 people. So see, this is what it has taken us there. It's a wellness program, yes, but it has so much of ingredients in it. So much of ingredients in it that completes this therapeutic healing dance. Great, we'll get Lumina. Lumina, please.
Well, first and foremost, my respect to your uncle. May his soul rest in peace. And he has left a legacy for everyone to appreciate their mother tongue. It's sad that I didn't really continue the language like every other grandmother has, because I grew up in a convent and English was the main language. Came to Africa, English was the language. Came to Canada, it was English again. So I really lost the language to teach my children. But the community, we have our own club. So people who have immigrated have improved the language and the customs to everyone. So we are following our mother tongue. And it was I was really glad to listen that every culture is doing it, just not us. And I'm going to pass that on to my children so they still carry on going to the clubs and learning from the others, things that I didn't teach them. Yeah, that's all I have to really say. I do respect your uncle for what he's teaching us.
But what I want to add, maybe someone else can give their take in it, to what Lumina said, that even if you don't speak the language, if you have the culture and the values going on, you know, that's a part of that also. I find that, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, Stephanie.
You know, I also was raised with English as my mother tongue, but what do I call my son? You know, Beta. What are the songs that I sang to him when he was a baby? Soja nunya daure daure. You know, go to sleep, my little one. You know, songs that my mom sang to me, which she learned from. You know, so it's all part of us, and it will go. Because my son remembers that song so much, and every once in a while, and they've taped my mother singing that song to us. You know, when she was 97, we taped that. We said, Mom, sing all these old songs for us so we can play it for the grandchildren. So, Carol, you're right. We pass it on like that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that you don't speak. I have the same problem as Lumina and Stephanie studying in convent. I can't read and write Bengali like what Shanaz does, but I speak. And because I was singing and dancing, so I was very much in the culture. And I speak my dialect also from my town, which no one does. I'm so fluent in it, so they get shocked. So as it is, maybe the written language, the Bengali, it's not. I can read very faintly, but I took it on the cultural part of it and the impact of it. So it's not a loss, Lumina, that you don't speak. It's there. It's very much there. We'll get Tatiana. And then at the end, we'll just do the dance again. Tatiana, let's hear from you.
My mother tongue is Russian. And but my mother was born and raised in Ukraine. And I often, when I was a little child, I heard her singing me songs in Ukrainian. My mother was Russian as well, but she was raised in such a place where people of different nations lived, and they spoke Russian, Ukrainian, Greek language. And I think it's a very important thing just to preserve your mother tongue, because, you know, the Soviet Union, or Russia, as it is called now, because it's a separate republic, it's a multinational country. But most people who are not Russian by origin, they don't know their languages. They don't know their mother tongue. And just today, I read a post from my friend that was, she reposted it. It was from some Tatar woman who was very sorry, who felt very sorry that she lost her mother tongue. She knew she could speak it when she was a little girl, but she didn't want to study when she went to school. And now she felt very sorry about it. Because when you lose your mother tongue, you lose your nationality, you lose your culture. You cannot read the books written in your mother tongue. It's a very sad story, really.
Yes, yes.
And my grandson, he was born in Russia, he was born in the United States, but his parents are Russian. His father is my son, and my daughter-in-law, she's also Russian. So he speaks Russian.
Oh, wow.
He speaks English, but he cannot write well. You know, Russian written language is rather complicated. It's the same as in English. You know, you don't write as you hear it.
Yes.
So it's a problem. He's married, my grandson. He's married to an American girl, and I'm afraid that his children, their children, won't speak Russian, and it's a problem. And on the other hand, I live in Florida, and there are two languages, Spanish and English, and I know many people here who speak those languages. So it's a good thing when people can speak their mother tongue, and when they have this opportunity to learn their mother tongue. So it's a very important thing to preserve, to keep one's mother tongue, because it's your culture, it's your origin, it's to know who you are.
Who you are. I'm telling you, that was a big thing I discovered when I was teaching. I used to just tell them, who are you? Just say that to yourself, who are you? I think, you know what we'll do, where it's amazing what we did. We'll wrap it up with the dance, and all of us will dance, and that'll be the finale. Okay? Thank you. Second part se dijiye. Music. Second antara se. Okay, let's do it.
আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি আমার সোনা দেশের রাতে রাঙানো ফেব্রুয়ারি আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি আমার ভাইয়ের রাতে খুশি ফেব্রুয়ারি আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি সোনার দেশে রাতে রাঙানো ফেব্রুয়ারি আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি আমার সোনার দেশে রাতে রাঙানো ফেব্রুয়ারি আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি ভুলিতে পারি আমার ভাইয়ের রক্তে রাঙানো খুশি ফেব্রুয়ারি আমি কি ভুলিতে পারি
I'll end up like that.
It was beautiful, beautiful.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Thank you all so much. And it'll be really a very memorable celebration, tribute to Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry, who passed a few weeks ago. And hopefully we keep on consciously thinking of what mother tongue means. It's not that we have to really go on talking morning, afternoon, evening, my mother tongue, and force ourselves like that. But it's just the feeling of consciousness. And it comes in different forms, I believe. In the food, the way we behave at home, the values, as Carol said, how we respect the elders, how we do. So this is all the intricate ingredients of the whole mother tongue. it's such a big pot. And if we can just, feel and in our lifestyle every day, embrace one or two of that consciously, it keeps going. It keeps going. And we'll end. And thank you very much, all of you. I'm sure it'll be a wonderful episode. We'll try and put it on the Chai with Munni tribute celebrating Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry. So it'll be wonderful. And thank you very much, all of you. And everyone, we'll see how the healing dancers from the therapeutic healing dance have shared their love for my uncle Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And Munni, on behalf of all of us, we want to thank you for including us in your tribute to your dear respected uncle, Mr. Abdul Ghaffar Chaudhry.
But I told you, we are a family.
Mm-hmm.
We are a family, and we have to keep that family feeling for all of us. And sometimes the family becomes big, but then sometimes it shrinks to the core who understands the bonding, and that stays on. And I think you are all from that solid bonding family. So we all are together in it. Thank you so much.